Kia ora and welcome back to the HRPI. I'm Marie Tovio, Employment Relations Consultant, Private Investigator, and your guide to navigating New Zealand's trickier workplace situations. Today's case file is the Policy Playbook, what workplace policies really do, when they matter, and how to make sure they support your business rather than sit unused in the background. Because in my line of work, policies are often pulled out after something has gone wrong. And when they do, the question is simple. Was the expectation clear and was it applied consistently? Workplace policies are not just documents sitting in a folder. They are a key part of how employers set expectations, guide behaviour, and create consistency across a team. In New Zealand, policies are not generally required by law in the same way that employment agreements are, but they play an important role in helping employers meet their obligations under legislation such as the Employment Relations Act 2000, the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015, and the Privacy Act 2020. So what makes a good policy, and what should employers be thinking about? The first point is understanding what policies are and what they're not. Policies set out workplace expectations that apply across the organisation. They help employees understand what is expected of them, and they guide managers in making consistent decisions. But policies are not the same as employment agreements. Employment agreements set the terms and conditions of employment, and so they take precedence if there is any inconsistency. That means policies need to be aligned with employment agreements, not contradict them. And to avoid inconsistency and make updating policies easier, it's often best to keep policy detail in a policy document outside of your agreements. The second point is clarity and accessibility. A policy only works if people know it exists and can understand it. That means it should be written in clear, practical language, reflect how the workplace actually operates, and be easy for employees to access when they need it. This can be more challenging if a part of your workforce doesn't have access to a computer at work. This is where you may make a kiosk available, offer an app that staff can access on their phones, and/or ensure hard copies of policies are available. A handbook that includes a range of key policies and procedures might be a practical option for some. Clarity is one of the key ingredients of a high-performing team. When expectations are clear, people are more confident in what's required of them, and managers are better equipped to respond consistently and in a timely fashion. This can make achieving success in your business quicker. The third point is consultation and implementation. In some situations, employers are required to consult with employees when introducing or changing policies, particularly where those changes impact working conditions or are linked to employment agreement terms. Consultation is about giving employees a genuine opportunity to provide feedback and having an open mind to that feedback. However, consultation does not mean that every employee needs to agree with every part of a policy. It's common for employers to receive a range of views, and a lack of full agreement does not mean the policy is unfair or inappropriate. What matters is that the process is genuine, the feedback is considered, and the final policy is reasonable. It's also important to recognise that levels of trust and engagement within a workplace can influence how policies are received. In environments where trust is strong, policies are more likely to be understood as supportive and clarifying. Where trust is lower, the same policy may be viewed with more scepticism. There isn't a legal requirement to have your employees sign every policy you introduce, but it is important that during consultation and implementation of a new or revised policy, you keep a record of the process followed, who was consulted with, and who received a copy of the final policy. You need to store that information securely so that you can refer to it later to confirm an employee was part of that process if needed. You also need to ensure you have a process for new staff to be informed of your policies and where they can find them. Regardless of the potential challenges, having appropriate policies in place is an important safeguard for the business. They help provide a fair and consistent experience for employees and contribute to setting clear expectations across the team. The fourth point is keeping policies current. Policies should not be static documents. Employers should have a clear approach to reviewing policies on a regular basis, whether that's annually, every couple of years, or in response to changes in legislation or business operations. Having a simple schedule or register of policies, including then when they were last reviewed and when they are due for review, can help ensure policies remain relevant and accurate over time. It's also important to have the right people on the review team, and this is one area I can help. The fifth point is how policies are used in practice. A policy on its own does not create compliance or fairness. It's how the policy is communicated, understood, and applied that really matters. Managers should be familiar with key policies and be confident in applying them consistently. Perhaps they need some training around the various topics that your policies cover. Employees should understand what the policies mean in practice, not just that they exist. Policies should support good decision making, not replace it. Most organisations will have a core set of policies covering areas such as conduct, health and safety, including unacceptable behaviours such as bullying and harassment, leave, privacy, and use of technology. The exact mix will depend on the nature of the business, but the key is relevance. Policies should address real risks and situations that arise in the workplace. Ultimately, good policies are about clarity, consistency, and fairness. They help employees understand expectations, they help managers make consistent decisions, and they help organisations demonstrate that they're acting reasonably. So, the key lessons from today's case file are these. Policies should be clear, practical, and easy to access. They must align with employment agreements and legal obligations. Consultation should be genuine, but agreement by everyone is not required. Policies should be reviewed regularly to remain current, and they should support consistency and clarity across the workplace. If you're reviewing your workplace policies or are unsure whether they are doing what they need to do, it can be helpful to seek advice about whether they reflect both your legal obligations and how your organisation actually operates. Don't hesitate to contact me for assistance with this. I also offer a range of policy templates and can assist you to customise them to your needs. The information in this podcast is provided as a general overview of key employment topics and does not replace tailored advice. Every situation is different and the appropriate steps can vary depending on the specific circumstances. If you're unsure about how to proceed in your workplace, I encourage you to seek advice and support. Feel free to get in touch with me directly. Another case examined, the expectations clarified, and the policy playbook brought back into focus. Mā te wā.